The fight for a citizenship question on the 2020 census is now on. Attorney General William Barr is saying he actually sees a way for that question to happen. Remember, the Supreme Court blocked for now the census from asking respondents to declare whether or not they're citizens, awaiting better responses or reasoning, rather, from the Trump administration. President Trump tweeting, working hard on something that should be so easy. People are fed up. He went on to call the Supreme Court ruling strained. Joining me now, attorney Leeza Garber. Leeza, thanks for joining us.
Great to see you.
All right, so I'm not sure what Barr sees, but, Barr has really hit the ground running. He's had a massive impact already in the job as AG. They've got a new team now who are going to present this. What do you expect?
I don't think it's a surprise that he's putting his support towards adding this citizenship question. And really, if we look back at the history of the U.S. Census Bureau, it has this power from the Constitution dating back to 1790. Right. We get these questions every 10 years. And this census, the 2020 census, is actually remarkable in multiple ways, not just because the question of the citizenship issue, but also it's now going to be taken on the internet. It features applicability to same-sex couples.
What is AG Barr going to say differently that the administration wasn't able to say the first time to persuade the Supreme Court?
That's a very good question. That's what we're going to see from AG Barr and also from the team of new lawyers that are going to be tackling this issue. And really, it's arguably a procedural one. We're looking for the justification for adding this question. Trump and that team of lawyers put forth
Does motive
the Voting Rights Act.
in these things? If people are saying this is unusual for the Supreme Court to want to question the motive behind this instead of the legality and the constitutionality of it.
Well, the motive can be part of the legality. It's definitely something that's part of the procedure. And unfortunately, while it might look like a little bureaucratic issue, it's not. And this is something that could definitely get passed. We may see it go up even further.
Was it a mistake to tie this to the Civil Rights Act?
Not necessarily, but obviously at this point, it's not moving it forward. It's not moving the question forward. And one thing I do want to point out, and I know this is a little tangential, but the citizenship question is begging the other question, which is, are people just not going to answer anymore? Is it going to become meaningless? And the Census Bureau is supposed to be the most accurate count for people in the United States and the economy of the United States.
Right.
And actually, the Census Bureau itself has said we are not going to look to criminalize people. We're not going to while we could put out penalties, there is potential jail time for not answering or answering incorrectly. We're not going to do that. But the problem is it's now illegal for the U.S. Census Bureau to share any data received on that form to any other part of the U.S. government. So this actually stems from World War I, when they were sharing data on people that were supposed to be drafted into the war, and now it's illegal.
The bottom line, though, is we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars and political power at stake here.
Definitely.
This could tilt elections for the next decade or so. So it's really important, I guess, that we get this right. And it's interesting that Bill Barr stepped in and says he has a solution. I also want to ask you, because a lot of other things going on I need to pick your brain about today. The future of Obamacare, again, what's at stake. Now, there's a group of Democrat-led states. They're urging a federal appeals court to, right now, New Orleans, to overturn the Texas judge ruling saying that the law is unconstitutional. It's a panel of three judges, one appointed by Carter, one Bush Sr., and one actually by President Trump. So you've got two Republicans and one Democrat, but most scholars are saying that it's going to fail.
Well, there are a couple legal issues at stake. It's same kind of the layers of the onion, the same thing with the citizenship question, right? And we're looking at whether the hinging point, that question of the individual mechanism that really taxed people into having to deal with health care and pay for health care, otherwise they would be penalized. And that question exists, but then there's also a standing question. The people that have brought this suit, the 20 AGs, the state attorney generals, and from Texas is one of them, that's one of the keys here, is whether they've actually suffered a hardship because of the Affordable Care Act. And that's really the two issues we're going to see come down today in the hearing.
You have any thoughts on how the decision might be?
It's problematic either way. It's politicized, but it's also, we need the right solution for our country, and that's part of the problem. Whether this gets knocked down or not, we need to have something ready to take its place.
And there's no doubt the legal process will continue from here, right?
It's going to continue, and I think it's probably going to continue into 2020, and it's definitely going to impact the debates we see and the election we see, and it's not going to get solved in time.
Leeza, thank you very much. Appreciate it.